Hello and welcome to the Football Parliament podcast, your one stop destination for all the football debates, discussions, and opinions. Today I'm joined by a Barcelona fan, Nishit, two Chelsea fans, Chirag and Tanish, and this and our plastic fanboy, Rishabh Kumar. This is another analysis video, and Chirag, it's two videos in a day. How do you feel about it? Determination 101, right?
Uh, so feeling great. We have a great set of teammates with us. Everyone is contributing at their best, taking out time in these crucial times as well. So please, guys, do like, comment, and share our videos. It will really help us all. And talking about the games, this weekend was like a football fest for all the fans all over the world. Every major club had a big game this weekend. So first of all, starting with the game, me and Tanish would be the happiest about. We need some roasting with Rishabh this time. So Chelsea versus Man City. Just I want to say, Aguero is done. It's now Alonso.
So that's actually true. That's I don't know why, but Pep Guardiola again, I thought overthought the match. And why did he go with the three at the back is beyond every Chelsea fan. But thankfully, he just played into our hands, and we know how to play the formation much better because we've been playing it week in week out compared to say City's four at the back every week. So why not just stick to the basics? And thankfully we had massive luck on our side. I mean, that penalty that Aguero missed and the penalty decision which was given against Raheem Sterling. I mean, we got lucky and the scuffed shot in the 90th minute, but at the end of the day, to beat teams like Man City, you need that extra little bit of luck. One thing you can't fault Chelsea about is the effort, the tactical change that happened in the second half. It was crazy. It was like another team. Second half FC like Manchester United, very similar. The energy just went up a level. The ball winning in midfield went up a level. The substitutions worked. Billy Gilmore was exceptional in that midfield, breaking City's press so easily with that three at the back formation. I think Ziyech's goal was magical, obviously, but it was a testament to our effort, to our consistency and determination, which we have been showing under Tuchel. And that Marcus Alonso winner, I mean, I just danced after that winner. That goal was just so. It was just so amazing because
Lucky.
of the two goals which were two goals which were ruled offside. But however, we got the goal, we got the win, and at this point, we can't really ask more from Thomas Tuchel's Chelsea, isn't it, Chirag?
Exactly. Like Tanish, as you mentioned about the formation, I would ask both Rishabh and Vedant being the loser, being at the losing side to Chelsea like in the last two matches. I just want to ask you, no, simple way. Zidane and Pep were considered as one of the having the best minds in the footballing arena this time. But what has happened to them? Both of them have succumbed to Tuchel so easily. Both of them were forced to go to a back three, where both of the teams were very well equipped with a back four. Like you are winning titles with that back four, so going against a back three with Chelsea, obviously Tuchel has a role to play in it. So what is your take? Like going to a back three for your teams, how do you see that?
Yeah, I'm going to go first.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll go
Rishabh,
first. See, I can't speak
you
for
are
I
okay.
can't
With that.
I, yeah, I can't speak for Pep Guardiola, but I'll definitely defend Zinedine Zidane. But actually, there's nothing to defend here. Zidane tried to experiment with Vinicius Junior, who's a natural left winger. He played him at right wing back. He tried the same thing. Thomas Tuchel did the same thing with Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think Odoi was a right winger or a left winger, and now he's a right wing back. Zidane tried the same thing, and it's a UCL semi-final second leg where Chelsea literally dominated you in the first game. Not exactly dominated. Madrid got in the second half. That's a different story altogether. But when you know the three at the back isn't working against Chelsea, you are supposed to go for your four at the back. And Sergio Ramos, I'm not even sure about him and Folon Mendy if they were actually 110%, 100% fit. So that's a question for Zinedine Zidane, to be honest, and not the Real Madrid team, because the formation was completely wrong. Then the tactical setup of the team was completely wrong. So
So moving on to
I don't
City,
know.
the latest losers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll.
please, Rishabh.
No, just finish. What was the latest news?
No, not the news. The
Latest
losers. The
loser.
latest losers.
Oh, the latest news.
Tuchel has
No.
gone to now against
To
Pep.
be
Now
fair,
we are
to be
waiting for the
fair,
change.
a third party, looking at Chelsea's squad development under Thomas Tuchel, you can't help but to say that he's moved into a squad which has got probably one of the greatest potentials currently you have the likes of Mason Mount, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Tammy Abraham for that matter,
Kai Havertz,
and Kai Havertz too,
Ben
Timo Werner.
Chilwell,
And you've
Timo
seen the
Werner
way
too.
Reece
Reece
James,
James.
you've
Timo
seen
Werner,
Reece
you've seen the
James.
way
Billy
they've
Gilmore.
transformed under Tuchel. I personally I couldn't tell if Tuchel's gone more defensive wise, bringing N'Golo Kante, having him as a holding midfielder and then three attacking midfielders, or attacking wise, because the way Timo Werner, Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic, for all of those people have started to play exceptionally well. And for Pep Guardiola, like Vedant said, he tried a three in the back maybe because he thought a holding midfielder would be enough to control the likes of Ziyech. It would be good enough to control the likes of N'Golo Kante, who, as you know, is the goat of running around everywhere. But he failed at that, playing a centre back at a centre mid position, realizing his mistake after the 1-all. Switching back to a 4-4-2. So Pep knew his mistakes. He kind of understood, what doesn't need to be done rather during the Champions League final, what mistakes shouldn't be made. And with regards to the Aguero penalty, that was the worst moment of my life. I was watching the match with Chelsea fans. They themselves knew they were 2-0 down in the first half. Chelsea probably wouldn't have the same motivation they had to bring that comeback. And I feel Aguero's penalty, like, actually fueled them to do a little bit better. And for those 2 minutes, I've never hated Aguero my entire life. For those 2 minutes, I just regretted and repented so much. But like he said, he made a mistake. It was a bad decision. It's
Yeah.
a few mistakes he's made along his career against Chelsea, so can't really talk about it that way.
So
Talking
obviously,
about
like,
Chelsea and City again, I would just like to mention that the managers keep Champions League final plans close to their chest. It is said everything about the confusion that Guardiola's side sowed when it was announced an hour before kickoff that they had the champions lining up in a 3-3-3-1 with Sergio Aguero on the left side of a triumvirate defensive midfielders, one of 9 players to come into the side that won against Paris Saint-Germain in midweek. That may not have been the system, but it was not entirely clearly what City were doing. On occasion, it looked like a 5-1-4 where Rodri was supposed to hold his position and
Yeah.
the fourth of the midfield on his own. And at other
Yeah.
times, one of the two, Ferran Torres or Raheem Sterling, might shift into the engine room. It was like that. Their press was aggressive in the extreme, and there was a clear
Against
focus on attacking the left flank
against
where Benjamin
Paris.
Mendy functioned as a winger rather than anything approximate as a wing back.
Benjamin Mendy, he's a crossing specialist. He's extremely brilliant. I've seen him. Not a lot of people will rate him highly. Most people I know call him the worst signing Pep Guardiola's made, but he is pretty decent. Against Paris Saint-Germain, he might not have played, but the system we played was the exact same that we played against Chelsea. And with that system, we got quite lucky with the disciplinary problems that Paris Saint-Germain had themselves. But Chelsea is now a working system. Tuchel knows what he's doing, and that's what makes him currently the most lethal manager in the world. And for the Champions League final, it's going to be nothing but a roller coaster of emotions and moments.
I think one thing which I would like to add in this when it comes to this
Before you
match,
conclude,
Right,
yes,
Nishant?
yeah,
yeah,
I
Nishit.
mean, you're saying no. I stopped because you were saying so.
No, Nishit,
I'll
continue.
continue after that.
Rashid, you
Go
can
on.
go ahead. You can go ahead. You can go ahead.
go ahead, go
Sure.
ahead.
So yeah, before you guys conclude, I just want to say that both of the teams were not playing their full power. So both of them had their best players on the bench. So this was just a rehearsal game. I am sure we are in for a roller coaster for the final, and Pep just doesn't go down so easily. And after a game like this, I'm sure he has a lot to say as well. And talking about Chelsea, they've been one of the best teams defensively these days, and even my friends did mention that. So so they were saying that both of them, both the Chelsea fans who are with me right now, they were pretty ecstatic that day, and the third one not being here. So I mean, as a neutral, it will be an amazing game, I guess.
Now,
The City versus
just
Chelsea.
concluding
Final
this,
finale.
that Chelsea has secured a very good spot to end up in the top four. Even if Chelsea were to scramble in the finals, they definitely are now getting a spot in the Champions League final. And talking about the top four, now let's move to the next big league that has been the La Liga
Just
league.
before just
We-
before we go to La Liga, I just have a question for Rishabh and Tanish and you. City don't have a striker right now. I mean, Gabriel Jesus isn't world class, and Aguero isn't the same anymore. So they play a
Yeah.
strikerless. They play a strikerless formation. So I was just going through the statistics between Chelsea and City. So expected goals for City were 2.2 because of the chances they created, obviously. They had 16 shots and only 4 were on target.
Target.
Yeah,
So
because we
Rishabh
could.
and Tanish, this is a question for the two of you and Chirag, obviously. Do you think City not having a striker, like a world-class striker at the moment, will be the reason that they might lose out on the Champions League final? I mean, they won't win it.
Can I go on this first?
Yeah, you can go.
Yeah. Talking about a strikerless City is something that has to be spoken about. Gabriel Jesus is not world class, I will admit, but when he's very inconsistent with his performances.
Yeah.
Like the players of Raheem Sterling, but this season he's been very passive. He's not got the aggressiveness that a proper number 9 has. When he's in form, he's extremely good, but he's not the striker we need right now. And Pep has kind of understood the situation. That's why he started to play a false nine. Because if you look at matches like the first Chelsea match, the first leg at Stamford Bridge under Frank Lampard's reign, you see that Manchester City were playing a false nine with Sterling and De Bruyne switching around on the sides, from Sterling from the wing to the middle, and Kevin De Bruyne likewise. So playing that false nine somehow helped us in that 3-1 win. And it also worked for us rather against Paris Saint-Germain in the second leg. So going up against a team like Chelsea, you have really good defensive players. You have people like Rudiger, you have N'Golo Kante, you have Kurt Zuma, and Edouard Mendy, like between the goalposts. So it would be really hard with a strikerless City, but I still believe that Pep can, make the most of it.
Can I go?
Yeah, Tanish.
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
Tanish.
So I'm actually going to be an advocate here for the false nine system against a team like Chelsea who plays a 3 at the back. Because when you play with a striker against a 3 at the back, that striker usually gets swarmed. That is what happened with Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema was repeatedly trying to come back, try to build up the play. Now, what happens when the striker comes back? You have 2 inside forwards. And now I think City will play with Riyad Mahrez, and I think who plays on the left wing?
Bernardo
Phil
Silva,
Foden.
Phil Foden, Riyad Mahrez are the top
Foden.
three.
Yeah, so they will play with 2 inside forwards, which will exploit the one defensive weakness that Chelsea has is between the channels, between the wing back and the side, left or right sided centre back. That was exploited multiple times in this game, which was very, very different to the game at Wembley. Now, it's my only concern, but I think he will again go with a false nine, and I think this time City will win the Champions League because I think they will take their chances.
Tanish, I just want to give you the title of traitor, and next moving on to the La Liga tables. Nishit, a very good weekend for a Barca and a Real fan, right?
Good week, my
Worst
ass.
weekend ever.
Nobody
So
wants to
moving
win
on
La
to the
Liga,
Barca
yeah?
Atleti game. No, the
Atletico
Barca
is going to
Atleti
take
game,
this.
the game that ended 0-0, the top 4 teams playing this weekend, and as you guys said, no one wants to win the title. That is pretty obvious now. So Nishit, your take. Barca versus
Yeah, I
Atleti.
didn't see Barca. I didn't see Barca owning up to be the champions of the league in the first half of that game. So if you want to be the champions of the for Spanish league, you don't play like that. You don't play like a mediocre team. So and against Atleti that too. So when you look at the first half, Barca had like one shot on target. That too, even a good Messi run. That's it. Nothing else. So when they came onto the field in the second half, I think there was more determination and there was a lot of attack. But still, they had to get the job done that day. So now I think clearly Atletico are the
Yeah,
basic
favorite.
main contenders to win the league. They have the easiest fixtures as well. So I don't see us winning. I don't see Real winning because they still have Bilbao to go, and they have
And
Granada and
Villarreal.
Villarreal as well. So yeah,
Bananas.
Nishit,
so
I've seen
uh,
Barca
yeah,
Atleti play, a bit of the first half and most of the second half. And from what I saw I kind of felt like Barca was relying more on Messi to create
Messi.
those like really good
Yeah.
chances. So do you feel
Yeah.
like Barca is making a mistake by only relying on him when you have the likes of Griezmann, Ousmane Dembele, and
Hmm.
your strikers to create those chances? So do you feel like that's a big mistake just relying on Messi as a whole?
I have been thinking the same thing for over a year now because everything we do, we involve Messi in it. So even if, let's say, Jordi Alba was cleared that day before this game, I guess, who we facing Granada or Valencia, I guess. So
Hmm.
Jordi Alba had a shot on goal, clear shot on goal. He still preferred to give to Messi, and I don't think that's how football works. When you have a shot on target, you go for it, and that is the biggest mistake that Barca has been making for a while now. They just want Messi to get involved. No one wants to, I mean, have a bad image in front of him or what. I don't understand that. So they just give to him. Let's say even the youngsters. So I think Pedri has been one name that has been in focus, and he's been playing like a young kid who wants to show himself. So that's one kid who's doing good in this team. And then Moriba, he plays fearlessly. So these two names only. No, everyone else just thinks of Messi. That's it. And I think
Hmm.
yes, we are dependent on him.
This influence
See,
is due to
the Messi
Messi. Yeah,
Messi
go ahead, man.
dependencia has always been there for a decade or even more than that. Considering y'all had Pedro, y'all had Neymar, y'all had Suarez. Obviously, they scored. There's no doubt about that. But the Messi dependency was always there. It's not that Barcelona are weak right now and it's only Messi who's doing the job. I saw Antoine Griezmann. I think he had a pretty good game. I think like not a great game, but
He
a
had a
good
good
game.
game.
I think, yeah, I would give him a rating of 7.5. He was having good one-twos with Pedri and Jordi Alba on the left flank, and Atletico are slightly weaker on their right. So that was a space to infiltrate and create something. So Barcelona weren't that great in the first half. The second half, Messi was doing his job, which he obviously does very well. But that was about it. Barcelona's not winning La Liga for sure. It's
Yeah.
either Atletico. It's Atletico's to lose, to be honest.
Talking about
Yeah.
Atletico as well, can we like also talk about the defensive improvements that they've made, this entire season? Because if you look at Atletico, like, compared to when MSN existed, when Cristiano Bale, Benzema was still a thing, you could see that Atletico's, defense wasn't that good because you had people like Diego Godin, you had Stefan Savage. And now, Simeone has done something where, the likes of Kieran Trippier of all people are getting involved. So, what do we say about the defense?
I think
Atletico's defense
you can go first. You can go first. Say.
I think Atletico's defense has always been their strong point. They're never known for their
Yeah.
attack, or they're never known for their blistering strikers. Diego Godin and Stefan Savage, I think.
Stefan Savage.
They've been there for
Yeah.
a long time. And Oblak obviously was the foundation stone behind them to their Champions League final, I think, in 2014.
Yep, that's true. 16.
16.
In
They were
2014,
unfortunate in
Courtois
that
still
final.
the player.
Yeah, they were unfortunate in that final. But I think what they have done in this season particularly well is the focus on Marcus Llorente and Luis Suarez. Now, this is when they've actually tried to focus on their attack. And yes, they've been solid defensively for most of the season. They had a phase where they were almost crumbling and could have lost a lot of ground in the title race. But at the end of the day, when you have talismanic players and when you are a bit dependent on them, sometimes they might just pull you through. And that is what happened with players like Marcus Llorente and Luis Suarez. So I think they should win the La Liga.
Yeah, getting
See,
Luis
talking
Suarez for
about
their attack
talismanic
was
players, I don't think Luis Suarez or Marcos Llorente, for that matter, are the best players Atletico Madrid have to offer attacking wise. I think it's Yannick Carrasco who's their
Carrasco.
best attacking
oh,
option.
brilliant,
He's really very quick, and
brilliant,
in my opinion,
brilliant.
he's one of the best in his position. Pretty underrated
Yeah.
too.
But what about Joao
Anyway,
Felix? Do you feel like Joao Felix and Antoine is filling in the boots that Antoine Griezmann left at Atletico
No,
Madrid?
honestly,
see,
no.
Felix doesn't. Yeah, Nishit, you can go first.
Yeah, so what Anton Griezmann provided, what Anton Griezmann was for Atletico, he was their best goal scorer. He was their best attacking player on the field. There was no doubt about it. I mean, yeah, he's been underrated and he's been criticized a lot since he joined Barca. But he still, we can still see glimpses of how great a player he is, even for Barca. The way he links up, the way he moves the ball, the way he gets into the box, tries everything. So,
Yeah.
like you said, I don't think Joao Felix has filled the boots of Anton Griezmann yet. Yet.
Okay. But Antoine Griezmann this
See,
season, 19
But
goals
also
in
on
21
Griezmann has
games
been
Joao
really
Felix
very
for
good in
and
Barca.
2021. Joao Felix and Antoine Griezmann aren't the same players. I mean, position-wise and playing-wise. I
Kante.
mean, Felix likes to create. He'll
Both have
get you
had a
the ball.
better season than they did
Griezmann,
last year.
yeah, that can be said. But, Felix doesn't really fit in Atletico Madrid really well. I mean, he's the kind of player Barcelona would want to create chances.
No, I
I think
agree.
one thing
And
I would
Okay,
like to say about
yeah, and
Tanish, go
just saying
first.
that, concluding it with Barca is both Barca and Atletico were pretty much solid in defense, and both of them managed to hold on to the game. But both of the fans did hope a result which we all got in the on the next day. That was Real and Sevilla playing a draw. So Vedant, what's your take on this?
I'm devastated. I mean, we did very well creating chances in the second half. Since even if Sevilla were quite compact off the ball, they gave us the room to hurt them. At some point, the patterns in our play admittedly became obvious. But we didn't deserve to drop points. That's what I feel. Not after dominating them, Marco Asensio's goal, and all the players' efforts to score. I thought it was going really well that we had finally found the missing pieces. We had finally found the missing pieces to our puzzle. But in the blink of an eye, an individual error cost us, and it cost us big. I don't want to entirely give my opinion on the matter, but I'm stuck between believing it was an accident from either Militao or avoidable, making that handball. Whatever it was, it must have been difficult for the referee to make a decision. In any case, I'm frustrated. This was when we were wasteful. I mean, that said, we should thank Asensio and Hazard or Tony Cruz, whatever, for pulling it out for us back. And yeah, that's about it. We were just crossing too much.
Okay. So moving on to Juventus AC Milan. That
Yeah,
match saw
so
a
we had
3-0 loss at the Turin Stadium. And now a lot of us can actually I personally can't imagine Ronaldo playing on a Thursday night. So
Same.
how do we feel about that?
against
Challenge
a
accepted.
subpar Arsenal and Tottenham squad from their European champion ESL hopes to the European Championship hopes. This is a major downfall. I would just say, like we all saw that game, but I would just want to mention that the goals that AC Milan did score, all of them were like brilliant goals. Any of the goals you
Brilliant,
pick up,
absolutely.
this is not a regular goal that you see in any football game. Even Kessie missed a penalty. But still, they won the match like 3-0, and all the three goals were like superb goals were from all the three players. You all feel bad for Ronaldo, but I feel bad for Dybala. That guy is stuck in this team for
Yeah,
how long now? The
Mhm.
potential, he was among those the best potential guys ever was to player who has the best 2 or 3 years, and I am thinking that he's in his prime now. He should be playing for a club that is competing at the highest level in the
yeah.
champion in the European leagues. So what is your take? Like Ronaldo has taken it all. He has nothing to prove now. He is even the top scorer in this league. That does not say that it is due to him that team is not performing. So what is your take on the whole Juventus team?
Tanush,
Anyone?
Below
Vedant.
par.
about your take?
Go
Rishabh
start.
goes first, then Tanish, and then Rishabh.
Okay,
Okay.
so personally, I feel like the Juventus team is filled with, extremely experienced players. But I feel that's where, the manager's mistake lies. I think like the more time you give to old experienced players who've seen it all, who've won it all, it kind of gets repetitive the way they play, because then teams are able to pick up not only on the team's pattern, but an individual's pattern as well. Like when you talk about Ronaldo at Juventus, for example, you can see Ronaldo as a pure number nine, striking the ball from anywhere, and Paulo Dybala as the creative one. So Juventus is really relying on those day in, day out starters, irrespective of the younger players that they have. And I feel those younger players, the more experience they get, the more chances Juventus really has of, raising the standard of the way Juventus plays football. And when it comes to Dybala, I personally feel like he knew that all he was going to win was Serie A titles with Juventus, and moving out to win a European Cup should have been, his first move. So I feel Juventus right now need to reevaluate their entire squad, sell a few players, buy a few players as well, give chances to the younger ones, and I have faith that Andrea Pirlo can come up with something because he is a creative man. I do think Juventus can pull this back in the next season or two.
Just
Tanish,
before
what
moving on to
about you?
Ganesh, I just want you guys to answer alongside Pirlo in, Pirlo out, together with the answer
Yeah,
you are going to. Yes, Ganesh.
I think I'll be firmly Pirlo out because first of all, he's never taken a managerial job, not even in the academy. And how can you expect an already weak squad to compete at the highest level where they want to be, where Juventus wants to be, with players like Ronaldo, with a manager like Pirlo? I mean, he's playing a 4-4-2. Oh, no problem with playing a 4-4. But why are you playing Weston McKennie at the right wing? What chance have you got to create anything? Then you have a left winger who is generally Bernardeschi, but I don't think he started yesterday.
Federico
It's just a
Chiesa.
poorly Federico Chiesa. He actually starts as the
Chiesa's
dual
brilliant.
forward
Chiesa's a
alongside.
brilliant winger.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
brilliant.
Chiesa is really good.
But on the same
Yeah.
hand, on the other hand, you can't have Ronaldo at that number 9 position. You've got to play where he wants to be. He's being isolated. He's not being given any service. I think when Kulusevski came on, I think that was a bit of a refreshment. But still, just one shot on target. I mean, that's embarrassing. And this Milan side, yes, they're doing very well, but they're not as good a
As they
squad
were.
as compared to, say, Juventus. I think Juventus have entered a 3-year phase, which will be the transition phase. Pirlo will be sacked. I think he should be sacked. I don't think Juventus gets into the Champions League next season simply because they don't deserve. There's nothing exciting about that sport. They have one of the best players to have ever played the sport, and yet that player is so frustrated every shot he takes, every look he gives to the cameras. It's just my heart cries out for him because everyone knows how good he is.
Yeah.
And I think his move to Juventus is very similar to Neymar's move to PSG. They didn't win anything substantial. But to even think about Ronaldo playing in the Europa League, I just feel so bad for him and I hope he leaves.
It's a
that league
disgrace.
as soon as possible. And how much are they paying him a year? I think 60 million, 60, 70
Yeah.
million euros a year.
Yeah,
It is
that's
still
a
above 50.
So Juventus
Still
can
above
do
50.
themselves a favor by letting him go. Let him go. Let him do what he wants to do, and try to rebuild your squad with the money that you have saved. It's as simple as that. And I think Pirlo should go as soon as possible.
yeah. Plus
Yeah,
plus
Nishant.
Tanish,
Ronaldo's like the
before we go to just a second, before we go to Nishit, I have a question for you. You're saying Pirlo should leave the club, right?
Hmm.
So who do you think should come in?
Sari, no, not Sari. Allegri.
You
Allegri
can't go
back just
back.
for a year.
No,
Allegri.
sorry,
Massimiliano
Allegri.
just a
Allegri has
second.
to come back.
Just a second.
Allegri.
Just a second. Just a second. Massimiliano Allegri is the same guy who left the job 2 years back because Juventus proposed a different plan and Allegri didn't agree to it. And Juventus are stubborn. They won't change their plan. They won't change their projects. Project Ronaldo can be terminated. That's a different thing altogether. And yes, it's a effing disgrace for Ronaldo to play in the Europa League. I don't want to see him play against a
I
shit team
think
like Hertha
maybe
Berlin.
I think
I don't want to see him
maybe
play against a shit team like Hertha
this
Berlin.
is
What that team
Or
needs
Arsenal.
is a creator. What
this is a
that team
massive shout
needs
from
is a creator and a centre forward. Morata is a joke.
Morata's the best
He wasn't even
number
the
9
he
Chelsea's
wasn't even
had.
the third
He's the
choice
best
striker.
number 9
He
Chelsea's
wasn't
ever had.
no, just a second. He wasn't even the second choice striker at Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And Danilo, he wasn't the second choice right back Madrid had to offer. So Ronaldo, he just looks frustrated. I mean, you look at the last 3 to 4 games and you'll just see the anger. It's all over his face. And
Yeah.
he needs better. Go back to Manchester United or PSG for that matter. Just leave that club. There's a new
So
name
sorry,
for
Just
Vedant. I have
Juventus,
to
because
cut
Juventus
Backside
you short due
FC,
to the shortage of
Back
time.
Pass
Vedant.
FC. Huh.
Yeah, that's so sorry. Let's let Nishit finish up, then we'll wrap up the
Yeah,
video.
yeah,
Nishit.
But just before that, to answer Vedant's question, I think they have
Yeah,
two
sure.
options, and both of them are German coaches. If you are as ambitious as you claim, go for Hansi Flick. He has not yet confirmed the Germany head coach job. And you have Joachim Löw. At least he'll do better than Andrea Pirlo. For sure, definitely. You have
I
to
think
show a
another
level of
massive shout.
ambition to reach the level where you want to be at. Chelsea showed that with Tuchel, Man City showed that with Guardiola, Liverpool showed that with Klopp,
Klopp.
Manchester United showed that with
No, please.
Pushka.
Let's move to
Pushka.
Nishit. That's
Ole
okay.
Gunnar Solskjaer.
Nishit.
But another massive shout
So
for
Zidane showed
Juventus
it
would
with
be
Madrid.
Stevie G.
Madrid showed it with
What about
Zidane.
Stevie G? Stevie G would be
Rishabh,
a pretty good
we do
manager.
have a guest in form of Nishit today. He was not
Yeah,
only to
I
speak about Barca. I know he is
Yeah,
crying,
yeah,
but
yeah. Nishit, go ahead. Nishit, go
let him
ahead.
end. He has
Nishit.
frustration
yeah,
against
so
Ronaldo. We all know that. A Barca fan against Ronaldo.
okay, go ahead, Nishan.
no, even I feel sad for him that he has to play in such a mediocre team right now. And looking at him play in the Europa League won't be fair at all. I mean, He deserves to be in the Champions League. He's been the best player of the Champions League,
Mr.
undoubtedly.
Champions League.
And yeah, he is the Champions League, rightly said. So I would
That's
also say that Andre Pirlo out. And one more thing, under Max Allegri, Juventus was a team that was mostly every team did fear them. So they played like two finals consecutively, if I'm not
Correct.
wrong.
Yeah.
So and that was the team that was on top of their football at that time, even without Ronaldo, where Dybala was the main player and he was doing everything. So even when they faced Barca, Dybala was the player that made us pay. He scored two amazing, beautifully
Mhm.
built up goals. That were the
so
difference. So just
that's the
wanted to
time
say
we
this,
all
that even yeah,
we just have a minute
Yeah,
left. Sorry,
so
Nishant, we can't cover you completely.
yeah.
no
That's the
problem, no
time we
problem.
have for
So it
today.
was
Sorry, guys. It was a great video. It was nice having all of you all.
No problem.
Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if y'all do want to see our faces, y'all can check us out on Spotify. Peace.